Hi all, and welcome to this particular library tutorial. This is part of a series of library tutorials that will demonstrate the different resources that we have. In this case, we're going to be looking at opposing viewpoints and CQ Researcher. Opposing viewpoints and CQ Researcher are what I call really good gateway databases. They're useful for a lot of different things, for great overview on topics, great introduction, good background information, and they often take you a little bit deeper into what are some pros and cons on an issue, what are some statistics to back up what this issue could be. These databases contain reports, articles, even news audio recordings, like say from NPR. So they really contain a lot of resources, and they're pretty easy to use. They're also helpful if you are just starting your research and you're not quite sure what you want to write on, you have an idea. They tend to scope things down into major topical areas, so you can kind of browse through and get into your research that way. So let's start. So the first place you want to go is, of course, the library homepage. To get to the library homepage, you'll start at the college homepage, easiest way, and that's of course bluecc.edu, and then you'll click on the library. Once you're at the library page, you'll want to scroll down a little bit, and we're going to spend our time today in library databases, but I want to emphasize, if you want to access any of these resources off campus, you'll need to get a library card. If you are a Pendleton student, the easiest way to get a library card, walk down to Morrow Hall, get a student ID card, and bring that to the library, and we'll get you in the library account set up. If you're off campus and never come to campus, we can also set you up, don't worry. What you'll want to do is in this box below the databases box, how do I, click there. And the second tab over, you'll want to click on Obtain Renew Library Account. And depending on if you're a brand new student, you'll click here. If you've had a library account in the past, you'll click this link. This will take you to a form to fill out, and we usually respond to you by the next business day with your account information. And that's really, if you want to study at 2 in the morning, you want to study at Starbucks, your favorite coffee shop, that's your gateway in. So back at our library homepage, we'll click on Library Databases. We have a lot of different library databases in covering different subjects, different format types like media, newspapers, but we're going to focus on our top library databases, in this case, Opposing Viewpoints and CQ. So Opposing Viewpoints. Opposing Viewpoints, you can search in several different ways. You can do a general search up here, and somebody was talking about texting and driving earlier. You can actually text about clothing. You have to type right. And it starts populating. What do you think that the database is trying to figure out? What would be useful? What are you maybe thinking about? And so it's looking at texting and driving, but it says, well, you might actually be interested more of drinking and driving. What are the key trends shaping driving? And that seems simple at first, but of course there's the issue of texting and driving. There's distracted driving. There is automated cars, these cars that drive themselves these days. What are the issues that affect that? And of course then texting while driving. Those can take you right there. But you can also browse, as I mentioned, these are topical databases. So you might not be sure what you're interested in looking at, but say you're interested in science, technology, and ethics. They do always list a top 3. So you can go ahead and click View All to get a little bit more information. As you browse through here, you're going to see a lot of topics about science, technology, ethics, which can cross, of course, different areas. In fact, here is a section on distracted driving if we wanted to look at that. I'll go ahead and click on this one. So with distracted driving, as this example, it's taken us to a content page. This content page gives us this overview. Up here, you can view more to read the whole thing. As we scroll down, some other things this page gives us is different ways we might want to think about this. So, of course, distracted driving is maybe a product of drunk driving, obviously, texting while driving, obviously, but it's also attached to larger issues like technology and society. And, you might find as you look through some related topics, that's actually what's driving your interest more. So it's good to pay attention to these things. The database, after giving you the introduction, is primarily based on format of information. the database is called Opposing Viewpoints, so that's one of its main areas, and they have featured viewpoints, regular viewpoints. Again, they always list a top 3, so if you want to look at more of these topics, in this case there's 33, you would click there to open all those up. So as you browse through, they're not in order as much as would be helpful, but one thing that it does is usually give you different ways of looking at the same issue. So what are some things? So texting and driving is more risky than driving under the influence. That's really interesting. This is a very recent article from August 25th. Some other things would maybe talk about this as hands-free technology can keep drivers safe. Well, this person's arguing that hands-free technology does not keep drivers safe, probably arguing that you're still distracted. But just to point out that there's usually going to be something like this, 2 opposing points of view on the same topic. And as you write your topic, your argument, you definitely want to read both of these. You want to read it from a couple different points of view, certainly ones that disagree with your initial thought. The best way to construct an argument in many ways is to understand everybody in your audience, and everybody in your audience is going to have, of course, multiple points of view. Knowing those points of view so you can address those makes you a knowledgeable arguer or speaker. If you don't have that knowledge background, of course, people are just going to probably tune you out because they're going to say you're just ranting. You're not formulating a considered opinion that demonstrates your knowledge. So those are the viewpoints. They also have academic journals, in this case just one, and statistics. Again, a great way to back up any evidence you might want for your paper. Most of us like statistics as something that is meaningful to us. They do also have great videos, audio. Again, most of these are from NPR. These are downloadable, by the way, so you can download these to your mobile device. And also, the websites they tend to use and include are very pertinent. They're not just any website. You're not going to see Wikipedia here. In other words, you're going to see things from usually national associations or organizations that have done research. I should point out, if you find a resource that you like, let's just say this is one you're interested in, again, you can listen to it. As I mentioned, all of these resources, not just the audio cast, are listenable, downloadable. But there's also some other tools. So again, there's citation tools. Most databases are trying to help you out, knowing that you're probably doing this for a research class. What do you need? You need to do a citation list, a reference list, a works cited list. The default, for the most part, tends to be MLA. If you're in a writing class, you're going to be using MLA 8. Double check with your instructor. For the most part, they're probably just going to want you to include the citation, but edit out the URL part. If you're using a resource that is purely from the web, of course, include your URL, but since this is from a library database, you don't need to include that. If you are in a class using APA, well, you simply click there and you'll get that format. These are generally correct, but you might want to always double check it against a reliable source for citing just to make sure it is spot on. It is a technology, there's glitches, it's not always perfect. So, and again, as you see an article, you're going to see more related subjects come up. You might actually be mostly interested in the legal reform attached to distracted driving. You can browse through their related sources. Sometimes these have are hyperlinks, so you can go to these resources directly. Other times not so much. So that's pretty much Opposing Viewpoints in a nutshell. I would really suggest browsing it, taking a look at it. Again, you can always search from the top. You can always, browse these larger issues. Right now I'm in View All, so there are hundreds. From here you can narrow down to the very beginning, or back from that main site, which lists these top 3 again. So Opposing Viewpoints in a nutshell. Really quickly, we're going to look at another database, CQ Researcher. So again, from this top libraries database page, CQ Researcher is being problematic. It's only available on campus right now, but if you are on campus, it is worth it. If you're off campus and see a topic that's interesting to you, just contact me and we'll send you the whole report if you're off campus. So what is produced is, with CQ Researcher, is weekly reports that focus on hot topics. So the most recent reports have been focusing on betting on sports. Should it be legal? Pornography, is it a public health crisis? That's kind of interesting. We tend to look at it as, a free speech thing or an addiction thing, but this is asking, is it a public health crisis? Kind of interesting. Or looking at apprenticeships, in this case, would this help solve the skills gap? And other larger topics, in this case, looking at a successful presidency. Again, like the opposing viewpoints, you can search by keyword. You can also browse by topic, which I think is really useful. Again, you might not know what you're interested in specifically, but let's just say we're interested in, let's see, we looked at science and technology before. Let's go ahead and do that again. Science technology, of course, a huge topic. It's broken down by subject area. And so let's say we're really interested in, I don't know, let's say computers and the internet, distracted driving. That's going to take you to specific things about that. So video games and learning. This is a recent report. The dark web, I'm not sure even what that is. Teaching critical thinking, online dating, interesting topic. Let's go ahead and look at video games and learning. It's the most recent one. So video games and learning. Do games help students in the classroom? I'd be curious what you all think. So again, similar to opposing viewpoints, it connects you to different reports that you might find interesting. You might find actually you're a little bit more interested in, virtual reality, which is interesting. Something going on right now, cybersecurity and such, cybercrime. So that's something to keep in mind. But one benefit to CQ Researcher is really how it's structured. We're in the full report right now, but this full report contains a similar model for how you might want to structure your own paper. There's an introduction, there's an overview to your topic, background, kind of what's going on within the current situation, what might happen next, and a pro-con feature, and a chronology. Great stuff that really, again, might help you construct your paper. These are a little bit long, but they are super readable. They include great charts. I like pointing out the charts because if you are giving a presentation somewhere, you can actually take this chart and put it right into your PowerPoint. It's actually cited for you. It can make things, again, much more readable and usable. If you are off campus and can't access the full article, again, contact the library. We are just at online library at bluecc.edu, and we can send this to you. But if you do have access here on campus, you can, of course, view the PDF, email this, all of it or part of it back to yourself. And like opposing viewpoints, there's a Cite Now feature. In this case, they default to APA, this guy over here. So you would just change to whatever style is being used in your class to utilize this. So usually pretty helpful. Again, you can also search by keywords, so never forget that. If you're not finding something through the Browse Topics method, you can browse through here. So that is CQ Researcher in a nutshell. I hope it's helpful for you. Please stay tuned for our other videos. Again, don't hesitate to contact the library if you need help.